Crayton, I want to start with what Abigail had mentioned, which was an activist's request that he step down from the president's Strategic and Policy Forum. How charged was the environment? Do we get a sense of how much debate there was? Is this something that others had called for?
Yeah, there were a few people who asked about this and asked a number of political questions, everything from immigration policy related questions to whether Disney would switch out the paper towels in the amusement parks for hand dryers to save the environment. So it kind of runs the gamut. But this did come up, and Bob Iger's response is, look, it's better for us to be in the room. He kind of quoted Hamilton there, but be in the room with the president so that we can reflect Disney's values in the White House and have that level of access with the president. That was met with a round of applause, and our reporter Chris Palmieri, who's there in Denver today, did talk to shareholders after the meeting, who kind of expressed the same thing, that they felt like it was better for Disney to be working with the president as opposed to sitting on the sidelines.
It's interesting because, of course, Travis Kalanick of Uber tried to give that same explanation, but didn't get very far with his constituents, his customers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that I feel like there's a bit of a different, I guess, type of company. There's a different type of investor base to some extent. Obviously, Uber going to the airports during the initial version of the travel ban got people up in arms, and Kalanick obviously reacted to that. I'm curious, Crayton, given Iger, his sort of position here, where there's questions about his tenure, there's questions about obviously how long he's going to continue, how carefully does he sort of have to tiptoe around these type of things, or does he still sort of have the full backing? I mean, we just looked at the chart from Abigail that the shares have done very well. I mean, does he still have that kind of support from the investor base?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this guy's had a good run, and so people the questions about his tenure didn't really come up in any direct way in the shareholder meeting. There is a Q&A session in these things. There were a lot of questions, but this one didn't really rise to the occasion. And you're right. I mean, I think that's part of the reason is that you look over his tenure, and shareholders are by and large satisfied with how he's done. There are, of course, questions that do come up about what happens next, and ESPN is one of the big ones. How are they going to retain more of those cable subscribers or attract new ones online?
Right, and of course that's reflected in the latest results as well, which continue to show subscriber declines at ESPN. Bob Iger talked about the results and how it's been a year that has been unlike others. He called it an anomaly, didn't he?
Yeah, he said, they've said this a few times, that this year is going to be an anomaly. And that's partly because they had such an amazing year at the box office in their last fiscal year. Their fiscal year actually starts in September. So I'm sorry, in October. So you look at kind of the run they went on with Star Wars at the end of 2015 and some of the movies throughout early last year. There was a Captain America movie that was a big success. So to compare their film slate this year to last year, it was going to be down, and it always was. Then you also have a contract that they do have with the NBA that will start anniversarying this year. So there's some things like that kind of make it less. You're not going to see the type of growth you would normally see from Disney. But as you guys noted, investors are going to be looking ahead to 2018, and that's where you see a lot of the value reflected in the stock.